Welcome to JC NERR and How We Got Here, the show where you get an inside look into the stories and experiences that brought each of our staff here to the reserve. So we'd like to give a special thank you to our guest today, Lauren Hinger. She is actually the newest staff member here at the reserve and has come aboard as our volunteer coordinator just last month. So this is going to be really unique, and we just want to say thank you for taking the time to talk with us today.
Of course. Happy to be here.
All right. Let's go back all the way to the beginning. When did you know that you were passionate about science and about nature and the environment? Was it something in school? Was it something in your personal life?
So when I was little, I was always the kid who asked a bunch of questions. So I would never stop talking. And my dad is a chemical engineer, so he was like the end-all be-all, he knew everything kind of guy. So growing up, we always did like science experiments. Whenever I was like, why is the sky blue? He always had, the answer. And if he would always manage to like bring it down to my level too. So it was never like he was speaking with too much terminology or anything. So I always understood what was going on. So not only did I use that to like learn more about science myself, but I could also like teach my friends and stuff. So yeah.
And it seems like since your dad was like that, it just kind of got passed down to you, which
absolutely.
is really cool.
And it's funny because I'm the only other child in my family that's scientific. The rest are all like business. It's funny.
Your dad's probably real happy. Like, I've got
absolutely.
one that carried on the family trait.
We're the ones who sit in the room talking about physics, and my mom is like, can you guys stop? Like, it's been 2 hours. It's fine.
So going into school, growing up having all of this know-how from your dad and like having this really curious just intellect about you, did you have any cool experiences or any field trips you remember from growing up in school? Like, did you have any cool opportunities that you had?
Well, I had this one biology teacher named Miss Lambiasi, and she was just amazing. She was basically my intro to biology aside from my dad. She always like made science fun. So like we'd be learning hydrolysis or something, and she'd always like make a joke about it and just make it so that it was more interactive and it wasn't just, okay, this is another formula you need to know, or you just need to know this process for the exam. Like, it actually applied to your life and it was important. So,
and I think that's something that's it's really important. I know growing up you could see like the word problems for math. Mm-hmm. They don't necessarily really apply. It's the way of trying to apply it to real life. Mm-hmm. But when you actually make that connection, that's when not only you remember it, but you understand it, you appreciate it more. So that's awesome that you had the teacher that was able to kind of foster that, and I'm sure it had an impact on all of our students too.
Oh, absolutely.
So did you grow up anywhere that was within the reserve or somewhere outside?
I grew up in Monroe Township, which is like an hour and a half from the reserve. It was more forest-based though. Like, I've never been near an estuary before in my life. We just purchased property down here, so this is my first exposure to the area. So it's very different, but it's very cool.
Okay, so you had a little of the forest experience. So the Pine Barrens is a little bit of that, but I know you get some more of lowland down here. Now, in terms of coastlines, is Monroe, is that closer to the coast or not? I'm not familiar with that area.
It's right smack dab in central Jersey, so it's like 40 minutes from New Brunswick. It's like right in the middle. Okay.
Now, did you get a chance to go to the beach often?
Not as often as I would like to. Whenever we had vacation that we were going to the beach, we were like on LBI or by Barnegat Light. So it was the trip. It wasn't like you could go down the road and just like, oh, there's the water.
Okay. Well, it was still good that you were able to still experience the water too. Because I know some individuals that are up in, say, the top corner of New Jersey that had never had a chance to go to the beach, and they're so close. So that's great that you were able to kind of experience both. Yeah. What was kind of the most surprising to you about the estuarine environment?
I honestly knew nothing about estuaries. I took an AP environmental science course in college, or not in college, in high school. And it was just like, oh, an estuary is just this one ecosystem that I'm never going to come into contact with. Like, I never thought that I'd actually live or work for an estuary. It was just like this one small little thing that, oh, well, I mean, it's on the exam, so I'm going to learn about it, but...
Surprise!
Yeah,
you'd be like working right in it, which is awesome. I actually didn't know much about estuaries growing up either. Mm-hmm. I didn't really start to learn more until I was in college, and you don't realize, and I think a lot of members of the public don't realize as well, is how integral the estuary is to literally everything. So it's really cool, and it's a really unique experience to be able to work in that environment. I think we're really lucky to be able to do that. So that was a little bit about like elementary and high school. So college. You recently graduated, right?
Yeah, I graduated August 2019.
So you're like fresh, brand new, out of college.
Just got out.
Nice, eager, bright-eyed. That's incredible. So what school did you go to?
I went to Rutgers. I studied biological sciences at SEBS. And I also had a minor in philosophy. Fun fact.
So where did that come from?
Well, I liked looking at the abstract as well as like the detail-oriented things, which again, I got from my dad. So I like on a whim took a philosophy course because my dad said that he took one, he enjoyed it. And then I was just like, oh my God, Descartes. Oh my God, Socrates. And I just like fell in love with thinking outside the box. And I think honestly that helps science a lot too. I took this course in college called parasite ecology. So it was
that sounds incredible.
It was amazing. So it was like the study of parasites, but it was also like, well, how did parasites come to be? And it was just like this whole thought-based process that was then later proven by science. So it was just like this broad idea that was somehow like tied down and oriented based on data. And
honestly, I think that makes you more of a well-rounded, not just person, but a well-rounded scientist. I know with getting a chance to chat with everybody, that everybody does have, or at least most have, these different kind of cool little unique experiences or things that they've studied that are not necessarily in the realm of science, but it winds up like making you, because I can guarantee you that some way along your journey with J Senior, you will definitely utilize some of that.
Yeah.
Like it's guaranteed. And especially with that thinking outside of the box, that's incredibly important, especially with your position, trying to think of creative ways to get more volunteers, to keep them engaged. So that I think is incredible that you were able to have that opportunity, and it's interesting to you as well. Now, why did you choose Rutgers?
Well, originally I went to Drew University.
Where's that?
It's in North Jersey. It's like right next to Fairleigh Dickinson. It's a very small school. There's 1,500 kids on campus.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was just too small and it was too cliquey, and I just felt like I wanted something better for myself. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to apply to Rutgers. It's the New Jersey school on a whim, whatever. I applied, got in, and was like, okay, I'm done, Drew, bye. Packed my bags and I went to Rutgers. I definitely went for, because I knew it was a great school. I mean, without a doubt, it's like one of the top science program schools. So I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to get a science degree, this is the place to do it. So.
Did you start out at Drew with a science major?
Actually, I originally was going for psychology because I have like that weird I need to help everyone concept about me. So I was like, yeah, that means psychology, right? And then I was like, no, Lauren, you can still help people and make contributions to society without being a psychology major.
Yeah.
So I took a bio course and then I was like, nope, this is it. And I always loved science, so why I didn't think to begin with, hey, I should maybe, go for science, I don't know.
But you know what? Something that you had, say, learned in any of those psychology courses, like, it's gonna come back. Like, it's never a waste. There should never be any kind of a regret.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that actually makes, just knowing that makes your position, like, perfect for you. You get to work with our volunteers one-on-one, making sure they feel included, making sure that they're okay. I mean, I know you had just started your office hours that you have here, which is, I don't know if our previous volunteer coordinator did, but it's such an incredible idea just to make sure that our volunteers feel integrated. They feel a part of our family. Absolutely. because they are. We might not have events every week that we need volunteers for, but we always want to make sure that they still feel connected with us. So that's really cool. What was your either favorite course or maybe an internship or some part of Rutgers? Like, what was your favorite either moment or course?
Definitely back to parasitology. I love parasites. Like, I am a total geek. I can talk to you about them for hours. Like, I don't know. Parasites are such small things that are just so impactful on not only, like, human life, but also, like, wildlife. Like, in parasite ecology, we were in the field doing collections and stuff, and we'd be dissecting fish, and, like, the things you'd find were amazing. We'd find nematodes in fish, we'd find tapeworms, you name it, we found it. It was crazy.
And that's awesome. You were able to, it was you were able to be in the field, like
yes.
get that actual field experience, like throw on your waders, go out there and get in that water and get it done. And that, I think, I know, at least for me, because I'm a very either visual, I like tactile things. And for me, those are the experiences or the moments those are the ones that click. Those are the ones that stay, that have that most impact. So was that something that was over just a semester, one course, or were you able to take multiple courses in that?
I took multiple courses. I took parasite ecology, but then also human parasitology. So I got the wildlife aspect of it, but also the human aspect of that. So it was really cool. Unfortunately, they didn't offer more parasite courses. Otherwise, I probably would have taken them.
But that's really great too, because that you experience both sides, because that also can tie itself into sustainability, because I mean, sustainability is the environment, society, and the economy. It's like literally connecting everything together. So you're able to experience different worlds of it. And say if you wind up doing research, going on to do research on parasites, you can connect it to the bigger picture, and also relate it to how that can affect us. So that's really cool with that integrated, and literally you're well-rounding yourself so well, and you had just started your career, so that's awesome. Now, how many years were you at Rutgers?
I was at Rutgers for 4 years, even though I did 1 year at Drew, then I transferred in, and I still had to do the full 4 years.
Okay. Did you have trouble with some of the credits transferring over?
Yes. To say the least, yes.
I know some schools are easier to transfer than others. It's very hard to predict.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, it's definitely not a bad thing that you had to take more courses at Rutgers.
I definitely learned more from my career at Rutgers than I did from Drew, so I'm not mad about it. For biology, for example, one semester at Drew University of Biology was one exam at Rutgers in bio.
Wow, so it's almost like literally an accelerated program, even though it's not.
Yes.
Okay.
It was crazy.
Now, were the classes that you had taken at Rutgers, because I mean, I went to Stockton, so it was a smaller school.
Yeah.
Now, were a lot of your courses these big lectures or smaller class sizes?
It honestly ranged from either 300 students to 30.
Wow,
so,
okay.
I mean, the higher you go, the smaller the class size gets, obviously. But, Orgo was at least 300 people. Then you have your Gen Bio, another 300, and physics of 200 maybe. A little bit less, but big classes.
Now, did it impact any way in terms of the larger classes versus the smaller? Which did you prefer?
I think I got more out of the smaller classes because you were like more of a tight-knit group, so you got to actually know your classmates more too. Like I commuted, so I wasn't too interactive with my classmates at school unless I was in the small classroom setting. And when we were like doing projects and stuff, but even like labs were like 30 people, but you had a lab partner, so you had that person that you could like bounce ideas off of and like use as a reference, and that was helpful.
But it's great that you got to experience both, honestly. Like you got to like all levels of what you could experience in college, which is great.
Literally.
Yeah. So you had just graduated in August. Now, for those of us or for some of the listeners who may not know, do you have any previous experience with JC NERR?
I was actually a volunteer here over the summer. It was my last requirement for graduation, was to work in the field. And I contacted JC NERR because we just, as I was talking about before, we just bought a house down here. And I was like, you know what? It's literally 9 minutes from my house. There's no way it would work. It'd be too perfect, too convenient. And then I got a call from Rose Petrega, and she was like, hey, come in and we'll talk. And then I volunteered here all summer. I did Creature Feature, which is working with the kids over the summer and teaching them different topics in biology. And then I was also working with the critter cameras on the Grossel Marsh Trail, so that was fun. Saw a lot of cute pictures of deer. I know that I've sent you some.
Yes.
I know they will be posted later at some point.
What was your favorite experience over the summer working? Like, do you have any special stories or anything that happened that was like your favorite experience working here?
I loved the entire Creature Feature program so much. The kids were absolutely amazing. They had the best questions, things that like I, even after having a science degree, would just like never think to ask. Mm-hmm. They were just always, well, why is this the way it is? And they would always ask, how does that work? What about this? They were just so integrative, and they, like I was saying, thought outside the box. It was amazing.
And I really do appreciate that. I've experienced working in environmental education as well, and it's incredible that I think when you're so young, you don't have any kind of a filter. You don't have any preconceived notions. You have no filter. It pops into your head. It comes out of your mouth.
Absolutely.
You think about it and you ask it. There's no, you're not worried about asking a stupid question. Just everything, because everything's so new. Yeah. You just want to know everything. And I think, we stray away from that a little bit as we grow into adults. But I think especially in the science field, we still get to do that every day. Yeah. We still get to think, well, this might be a stupid question, or this might be thinking way too far outside the box, but let me apply this and see what we learn from it. And like I said, I think we're really grateful to be able to still be in that world. Because I know I'm a big kid myself. I refuse to ever grow up. And I think that is such a great and a really important trait to kind of hold on to that curiosity. And that's great that you were able to experience that with the kids here.
Scientific growth in general, just asking questions. So we need that. We need to be those little kids that are sitting in the dirt like, well, why is this bug here?
And nothing will ever move forward unless you do ask the questions. That is what propels the growth.
Absolutely.
When you think the most fundamentally about it, like that is what's going to make things happen. So that's all about everything in the past. Now you're here. What, coming into this, do you have any kind of volunteer coordinator experience or working with volunteers?
The only work with the volunteers that I've had before was just my experience over the summer, but I've never been in a leadership position before, so it was honestly terrifying when I first started, but I know the whole group. I know most of the volunteers, and if I don't know them yet, I am in the process of getting to know them with office hours and meeting them at the different events that we have. And so it was definitely a change for me coming as a baby out of college straight into a coordinator position. But
so tell us a little bit about what your role is here, because it seems something simple saying volunteer coordinator, but like what really goes into that?
So it's a lot of organizing the volunteers, trying to make a connection with them, obviously, making them feel part of our family. That is like my ultimate goal, the ultimate dream with the position is to have an integrative community with the volunteers, because I don't just want to be the person that they go to when they want hours. You know, I want to be the person that they can just come to if they have any questions, or like if they need to talk to somebody about something, you know. I think it's important that we have like a door open policy and just be open with each other.
I love that you have this approach that you want to make it more than that. You want to make it a rewarding experience for them, that they're getting something out of it. It's benefiting them. And they do feel part of it, because we literally would not be what we are without them.
100%.
So it's great that you have that you're going about it that way, and you really want people to feel included. You want people to be able to come to you. Yeah. I mean, I'm looking right now at a basket of candy that you would put out for your volunteers to come in for your office hours. Yes. Like it's those little things that really can make it have an impact to people. So that not only, I mean, it would help if we had some more volunteers, and growing the volunteer community is obviously one thing we want to do, but just making it worth it. Like we want to have people have great memories volunteering here. We want to make it more than just putting in hours.
Yeah. Like us staff, we're family, but our volunteers are our family too. So
100.
That hand is 100% extended.
Oh yes, oh yes. Now, so you said that one of your goals is to make the integration. Now, in terms of growing the program itself, do you have any ideas or anything that you've been brainstorming to try to implement or work on for the future?
We're actually working on a new project for our trail. We're making trail stewards, so it's going to be people who take care of our trail. They're going to be looking at the critter camera photos and logging all that data. We also have sound boxes out there for the birds, and they're going to be capturing that information and uploading it. So there's a lot of things coming.
Well, we won't give everything away, but that's a little bit of a sneak peek. I know, and everybody who's listening, keep your eyes and ears peeled and open for a upcoming contest coming up in the spring. That's all I'm going to say. But myself and Lauren are working on an upcoming project, so keep your eyes open for that, because it's going to be really, really cool.
It's going to be awesome. I'm really excited.
And I think this kind of brings me to kind of my final point. Where do you see this position taking you? Maybe in a like career-wise, or maybe like personal growth? Do you have any thoughts on that?
My dream is to go to grad school and to eventually get a PhD, more so on the microbiology side of things, but this is definitely, you know, a step on my way to my huge dream. I'm always that person that has like a million things that they want to do, and like I'm just slowly trying to check things off one box at a time.
Hey, but it's better to have all of that instead of just one.
Yeah.
And that's incredible. Have you started looking into any grad schools yet?
Rutgers.
Okay.
Of course. Gotta stick with us. Alum things.
But I mean, hey, what's actually could be great is if, say you do that, you'd be working over at the field station.
Right? Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you'd still, if that was, I mean, you could maybe even do both.
Yeah.
Grad school and then be here. You would literally be completely immersed. we would grab a hold of you and never let go. Thank you so much again for talking with us. This is, like I said, it's such a unique experience to talk with someone who's literally fresh out of college, fresh at the very start of their career. Like, you're building that foundation now, which I know, at least I hope that a lot of our listeners are starting to think about that. Maybe they're in high school and they're starting to think about where they want to go for college, or they just graduate and they're trying to find their way. Mm-hmm. So thank you so much for chatting with us, and we can't wait to hear everything that you have upcoming for our volunteers.
Thank you for having me.